the Omniverse. I'm DPZ, here with Craig.
Your boy Craig here, and Mikey's still with us hanging out below. He's sleeping.
And we're going to talk about Black Panther. Now, this movie's been out for 2 weeks as of this recording.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie yet, tough shit.
What's wrong with you, right? Where have you been? What rock have you been under?
Yeah, so, like, we're going to talk about spoilers, so... Sorry.
Deal with it.
Yeah. Right out the gate, this might be one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Marvel movie.
Yeah, no, a lot of my friends, I'm sure you were one of them that kind of caught wind that I said that I think this was going to be their best movie. I don't want to necessarily say it is their best movie, but as a whole package, from the villain to the hero to all the focus on the side characters, I think it is their best movie, and it's nothing to me will ever top whether you love the Avenger movie, the first one, or you hate it. There's nothing that's ever going to top, for me personally, the first time you saw the Avengers in that circle shot. That to me makes that my favorite movie. Just that one scene alone,
mine before Black Panther was Winter Soldier.
No, Winter Soldier is technically, I think, the best Marvel movie, and was next again to the Avengers, but to me it was just that scene. But as of now, I think Black Panther is definitely, if not, like you said, the best. It's probably top 3, I would say, for sure.
Man, like, there's so many great scenes in here, and like from the first trailer, everyone was thinking to ourselves, wow, this does not feel like your basic Marvel movie.
No, it didn't. It really didn't. I mean, the music to the special effects, the color schemes, all of it kind of stood out to me. I mean, the performances were just absolutely fantastic. Really, guys, I mean, from opening the first, I'm sure you guys have seen this in other reviews, this movie feels like 2 separate movies. The first half, very James Bond, 007 feel, and I'm sure you're going to get that a lot from many different people, but it really did. I mean...
Yeah. That's not a negative.
Oh, not at all.
I actually want the director, Ryan Coogler, after seeing this film, I want Coogler to be like, hey, I want to do a James Bond movie, and I'd be right there, like, going, yeah, give him a James Bond movie.
I would too, absolutely, and I want him to be able to do the sequel to Black Panther. It'd be ridiculous if they don't allow him to do the sequel.
I think at this point, they're like, yeah, do the other movie.
Yeah, I would hope so. But truly, I mean, I think this film is really special in the realms of the villain. And let me change that, in the role of the villains, because I think the 2 villains in this movie, to me, stood out almost better than every other villain we've had. And I don't want to count Loki, because Loki's kind of a tweener. He's kind of an anti-hero.
He's kind of becoming the Vegeta of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Absolute. That's a perfect analogy, and not a racist one. But
what is it with? That's the second time. What the fuck?
I said it wasn't racist this time. You weren't the racist one in the last comment. Anyway.
Where are you going? Continue.
Yes, we'll continue.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Anyway, so absolutely, he's kind of like the Vegeta. So in this regard, it is a shame that what happened to them happened to them. If you haven't seen it, it is a shame that in today's 2018, they feel that they have to kill off villains. I really hate that.
But I've seen, like, with Phase 3 so far has been a little more story driven with their villains. I mean, with Ego, Ego, I feel like that was more like Kurt Russell's performance.
Oh, yeah.
But he was an enjoyable character. Again, they killed him off, but what were you going to do with a giant living fucking planet? I still think Kingpin's the best Marvel. Yeah. But this, like, Killmonger's, like, I would say equal to Kingpin.
It's like 1A and 1B, if you will. Like, they're
if you were going to go by Marvel movies from the villain, villains from the movies, I'd say Killmonger, Netflix, Kingpin.
Yeah. Well, we're just talking cinematic universe, not just the movies, but cinematic universe. I'm with you. Kingpin, Killmonger, for sure, absolutely.
And I give bronze medal to Vulture for bronze medal.
Yeah. Well, maybe. I mean, because I think it's a tie for first place, gold medal, if you will. If we're gonna talk silver, I don't want to discredit Kilgrave. I mean, the dude was fantastic in his own right. And Loki is somewhere up in that conversation, I guess. And I don't want to discredit him, and if he's your favorite, great. But he's really a tweener, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But yeah, with Killmonger is that you see a lot of his points. You're like, yeah, I'm right there with you. But on the other hand, you do see that he doesn't think, he's thinking A to Z. He's not thinking of everything in between. Because his whole plan is he wants to arm everyone who feels oppressed and everyone with these weapons. And you're like, okay, hold up. What if they start using on each other or just start selling them to the black market,
Right, no, yeah, for sure. I mean...
It's a dangerous, slippery slope, and he doesn't consider it. He's just thinking, we're just going to kill everybody.
And of course, like we've kind of talked about in some of our past videos too, it's like, sometimes we don't think about, we think about A and we think about Z, and we don't think about the in-between. And really, if you arm all these people, like, who's to say that they're going to follow your rule?
Yeah.
You've given them the powers to think for themselves, and now we're just dealing with the whole oppression thing, because anyone that they can counter over is just going to be the same. It is human nature, unfortunately, to kind of do these type of things to each other. So there's no saying that would have been, that his plan would have ran as smooth as he thought.
But on the other hand, Killmonger still, you still sympathize with him because his own uncle murdered his dad on the grounds of, in his mind, his dad really wanted to save these communities. And you can side with him on that, but, it was still extremism. But,
Absolutely.
in his own head, and you could almost look at it, that Killmonger's the hero of the story in some cases, in some aspect.
Yeah, which is kind of strange to say, too, as the villain, and as the main villain for him to be looked at as a hero. But you're absolutely right. His point of view is not wrong. Maybe he went about it the wrong way of doing, but he's absolutely right in the way, African Americans or many different cultures are oppressed. Being oppressed and the people in power not doing anything to help them is wrong. Any way you look at it. And unfortunately, even in today's society, you have people with political views and religious views that sometimes we use as shields to block and say, oh, well, this is our culture, this is our way of believing, we don't need to deal with those people. But in terms of human nature, that's wrong. So definitely you kind of see his point for sure. And one of my favorite things about this film was it really left me with a Charles Xavier and Magneto feel, where they come at the same thing, the same problem, but they come at it from both sides of the coin, which to me was absolutely fantastic. I didn't see that coming from this film.
Yeah. And honestly, there was a part of me that was like, I really want him to keep going. I really want...
No, it's okay.
I really want this character to stay around, but on the other hand, I don't know what more you could do. Well, actually, there was a lot you could have done with him.
Oh, sure.
And to see him die, I was a little let down. But on one hand, I can see the logical. Oh, Mama's home, I think.
Yeah. Don't mind that, guys.
The stance that Killmonger has on this and his Sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
That's okay. I can edit that part out.
Yeah. But I'm sorry.
No, basically, I just want to, like I said, from them coming from two sides of the coin was really unique take on the character, and the performance himself. And it's no shock, he kind of did take Fassbender's Magneto. He kind of looked at that and Heath Ledger's Joker to kind of create this character. He's gone on record, Michael B. Jordan has gone on record to say that. So that might be another reason why you feel, or at least I feel, that Magneto presence from Killmonger. But really, guys, if you haven't seen it, you got it. This guy is just, it's almost heart-wrenching when he dies, because he's wrong, and it makes you feel a certain way inside.
Because you feel like he got cheated.
He did. Well, it's true he did, but again, it makes you question yourself. That's what I think what makes his villain and his role in this movie so good and so important. It's obviously important, for being in a majority African American film, actors, directors, and so forth and so on. And it's an accomplishment on its own right and its own merit. But again, to make you feel that way inside, where it's like, he's got a point. He's right, but he's going about it the wrong way. So when he dies, you almost feel like you don't know if you should be sad, happy, you know, jump for joy, or be like, no, you want to pick up right where he left off. And you know, I'm speaking, you know, as a Caucasian male, I felt that way. So I could only imagine how he reached out to people within his own community and with their own same beliefs as him. This movie is really powerful when you really think about it.
Yeah. But yeah, again, Michael B. Jordan, he knocked it out of the park with this.
Out the park.
I mean, we've been talking about the villain first, but let's face it, everyone's been talking about the villain first.
But real quick, if we're going to be talking about the villains, I also think Andy Serkis doesn't get enough credit for that role. Yeah. It was very minor and quirky, but I mean, when you really, he's a character actor that when you look at everything that he's done, whether he's really in front of you in the camera, or he's voice acting, or he's mocapping, the dude deserves an Oscar. The dude is amazing. I
mean, especially, I feel like he got, I don't know, like, I want to see, like, some kind of nomination for War of the Planet of the Apes for him.
That's...
I mean, with his performances. Like, you and I walked out of that movie almost, like, in tears at the end.
No, absolutely. It was, to me, second best movie I saw all last year, to be honest with you, personally.
If we're going to talk more about the villains, I think Andy Serkis was really good, even though it was a bit role. And I was actually kind of sad that I was more like, oh, did we really have to kill him? But on the other hand, like, it does serve a purpose,
right?
For the story.
I think that he could have still brought him to them, and he maybe escaped at the end during the fight.
Because I was kind of hoping, like, because the thing I've been really wanting for the future of MCU is Masters of Evil. Yeah. Because like we have Zemo,
right?
Abomination's still around,
right?
They're gonna save Vulture for obviously Sinister Six,
right?
But like, there's so many. Like, I want to see like Claw as a member of this Masters of Evil.
I mean, you do know that. I mean, obviously, there's another incarnation of the character being all sound and everything like that. So there's, and because it is, again, at the end of the day, all comics. There is a way, and after Infinity War, anything can happen. Like, everybody could be resurrected at the end of Infinity War. You know, so who the hell knows what's going to happen? But I think out of the two deaths, I do think that Andy Serkis was shortchanged on that one. I think there was more he could have done within the Marvel Universe. And especially when you're talking, you know, dealing arms and things like that. And not his arm, but, you know, like... right? You know, just, he could have served a purpose to so many other characters. He could have been the connecting point between Vulture and the Sinister Six, getting their tech. Because, you know, it's not like his crew is salvaging parts anymore, you know? So he would have needed to get more tech, and who better than to go to Claw to get it, you know? So it would have been he could have served more of a purpose, if even a minor undertone. I don't think he's a character that should have died, but
also what I find kind of funny is that the two white actors were in Hobbit films together, and you can almost say they're the Tolkien white guys.
I see what you did there. No,
I am so proud of that. You don't
He's
even
probably been waiting all day to say it. Yeah, no, that was good. I like that. Yeah, they were fun, dude. There wasn't an actor in this movie that didn't bring their A game. I mean, Chadwick Boseman. I mean, come on, let's face it, the dude's amazing. I mean, personally, I felt the character a little more in Civil War. But I think it wasn't because of Chadwick Boseman in this. I just think because both villains spoke so much more to me, or wanted so much more from them.
We forgot to talk about M'Baku, but he, in a weird way, I mean, like, he's one of the best characters in that film, and I guess we'll get to him in a moment. But
well, really quick, when we're talking about M'Baku, I was actually worried about the character. I was, because let's face it, he is a little racist. You know,
character man-ape.
So not to keep bringing race into our videos, but sorry, I don't know why it keeps happening.
It's him. I swear it's only him.
No, but really, he's a character that we could have got a lot of flack for being in a film, and I honestly think that they did it perfectly. Yeah. Like, it really was good.
And like, when his tribe shows up, every time ooh, ooh, ooh. Like, you want to chant with that, like, because there's so much energy from that character, and like, he's not a villain in the sense that he is like, oh, I'm evil. It's more like, yeah, a long time ago, Wakanda screwed me over, my people over. We took off because we didn't feel, you know, we felt like the outsiders.
Right.
And we just decided, Why should we even bother? He even says to T'Challa, this is the first time one of your members of your royal lineage.
In hundreds of years. You're the first king in forever to show up here.
Yeah. And that wasn't even like you were invited. You showed up by accident.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, that speaks volumes. And again, it brings to a tone of the movie where it's like, these are his people. Like, they are essentially a part of their tribe. I mean, we're not just talking about, other African Americans. They were a part of their tribe at one point. And yes, due to means, there was some segregation. And because of their beliefs in Wakanda, and their religion, if you will, and just their political views to keep everything so secretive, that they weren't there for them. And so they were essentially the redheaded stepchild and just, we're out in the cold, no pun intended, they were out in the cold.
And that's what I really liked about this, that there's political undertones to it, but it's never in your face, like beating you over the head with it.
Yeah,
because there was a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's going to beat you in the head with all the political stuff." I was like, "Nah, it was subtle yet strong."
Yeah. I mean, and that was actually one of the reasons why I was championing this film. Is I was actually like, this is one of the characters that can give us the political views of things, and not just is he a political figure to the world, but he's a king. That's like a step above politics, if you will. He's not a president. Yeah. He's not a governor. He's not a mayor. I mean, the dude's a king. And it's a lineage thing. So he brings a whole new element to the MCU that I was like, we really only touched a little bit maybe in Civil War with a little bit of politics. Yeah. So I was really championing this, and I was very glad that it, like you said, it wasn't in your face, but it was
strong enough for
you to read it. You could see it happening. You could read the undertones, but it wasn't like, hello, I'm here, hi. Yeah. So it was definitely it was really done well. Like,
the other thing, like with this film, is that it's really T'Challa's choice of, where do I go as a king? Do I stay isolationist, or do I try to reach out to the people? Because at the end of it, he really follows Killmonger's thing of, yeah, we've been kind of keeping all this to ourselves, and we've been letting all of these people just die.
Right.
On there, with no direction, so it's time for us to come out there. And a lot of the good storytelling with that comes from his enemies, and it's not like, oh, I'm better than them. No, in a weird way, his enemies teach him those lessons.
Right, and even if not directly, it was done indirectly as well.
Yeah.
Because I personally feel like it didn't take him fighting Killmonger or killing Killmonger to realize there was an error. You can kind of see from him just realizing who Killmonger was. He's like, there's a problem here. My father, for lack of a better term, fucked up. He's like, my father messed up, and I'm paying for my father's sins.
And this is my cousin.
Right. No, yeah, exactly. He even said it in the movie. He's like, the only reason why I don't kill you where you stand is because of who you are. You were essentially blood. Even though he didn't want him there, clearly, he didn't do that because he was family. He realized that his father had messed up, and he was on the track, and he was heading in a direction to rectify the problem. He may not have been able to fix the monster they created, but he would have been able to start his people in the direction to kind of maybe help set an example to the world. But obviously, here comes Killmonger and kind of throws a monkey wrench into that and speeds the process up. But I do think that T'Challa was already on that track, realizing there was a problem. But again, just the way it was done, a lot of people like to rag and put the comparisons to Lion King, and it's there, sure, fine, who cares?
It's minor at best.
Yeah, but it's still really good, and it's done beautifully. Like, I can't rave enough about how just it talks about things that we're dealing with today, but again, doesn't mush it in your face. It doesn't make me as a Caucasian male feel bad or scared, and it doesn't make me feel in any negative way. It makes me see their point and makes me want to help. It makes me want to do better and be a better person. And it's strange. I'm talking about a freaking superhero movie here, and I really did feel that way coming out of that story. I was like, man, it sucked he died. He had a freaking point. Yeah. It really did.
And like the other characters were really good. Like there are other characters who, like Forrest Whitaker's character Zuri, when he died, like you feel it. Like even though he gets so little screen time, but whenever time he shows up, it's an emotional impact. And like I don't know why, just off topic, why is Forrest Whitaker's characters consistently dying in Disney films?
That's funny.
Because like he died in Rogue One.
Yeah. And side note for anyone who doesn't know, I do Uber.
Oh yeah, I
my
remember.
job. And actually, real side story, real quick. Funny enough, we had a Star Wars convention here in Orlando, Florida, and I get a call to go to his hotel, and I go and I pick, and this bigger, heavier set guy comes in. He's wearing a hoodie, and he gets in my car, and I turn around, and it's Forrest Whitaker, and I'm like, oh my God, the King of Scotland, the Oscar Award winner is in my car.
The ghost dog.
The ghost dog. I'm like, what are you doing in my? Why are you taking an Uber? And let me tell you guys, he is down to earth. He wasn't like, oh, I'm a star, don't talk to me. He was very conversational. We were talking, and even when I was taking him to the convention center, it didn't even dawn on me that he was in a Star Wars movie up until that point. And I was like, I'm surprised you're going to, a convention with Star Wars. I'm like, this is fantastic. I was like, I wasn't even thinking. And I was like, oh yeah, you were in Star Wars. And in long story short, I don't want to give away his secret that he told me, but he's been a fan for so long, and he let it kind of be known that he would have done it for free. Like he said, he would have done that movie if they just had said, hey, we got a role for you. He said he would have been first in line. But anyway, he's a really cool guy, and definitely I love seeing him in films.
Yeah. Which it probably explains why he keeps coming back to Star Wars Rebels to play his role again.
Right, that too.
But yeah, I thought that was, like his death is very emotional, and how it plays into Killmonger and that character is really
that was a good twist.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of funny because I kind of suspected the kid in the blue hoodie is Killmonger, and I like the subtle hint that he's still a child when Killmonger goes to see his father's spirit,
right? And
he's wearing the clothes he had on as a kid, and it gives you this subtle thing of he's still thinking like a child in a weird way.
I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, that you're right. That's a see. 2 weeks later, and the movie is still fresh on my mind, and that's a whole new point of view that I didn't even think about.
And the Okoye and Suri and, all of them.
Okay, not to make this video 4 hours long, because I think I really can because of how much I love this movie. But this is probably, now, I don't want to take anything away from any other side character from any other Marvel movie. If whoever's your favorite, that's great. Everyone is brought, from Pepper Potts to Happy, Bucky, Falcon. They all did their role great. I was like, but I think this is the first time that the side characters are as important, if not maybe in some cases more important than the main character. Like, without his sister, T'Challa really wouldn't be as good as he is. She's brilliant.
She's essentially his cue for going to the James Bond.
Absolutely, absolutely. But and not even just the tech. She grounds him because she is of the new era, if you will. She's
not too far away from.
Right.
She's still she believes in her country, but there's so much more we can do.
Right. She's an independent woman. She somewhat of a rebel, but yet, like you said, she understands that she knows her place, but she's quick to put you in your place, if you will, and she even does that to him. He is the king of Wakanda, and there's a scene in the film where they're testing out tech, and you kind of see it coming that she's planning to make him look like a fool, and she plays a trick on him, and you kind of saw it coming, but that's something a brother and a sister would do.
Yeah.
Or just siblings would do to each other. And she sees him as her brother, not necessarily her king.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's characters like that. And then, oh man, what's her name? Michonne. I can't think of the actress's name.
I can't remember. Okoye.
But I couldn't think of the actress's name. But the African American lady who plays Michonne in The Walking Dead. Just when she says the line, that her loyalty is to the throne, but yet her heart was to T'Challa and to the king, and to T'Challa because the king at the time was Killmonger. but you could just see it just literally just tearing her apart in that scene when she's crying, and you know she wants to run away with them, but she's like, well, I can't. There's people that depend on me here, you know, from her to her, you know, not just meaning her husband or anything like that, but you know, the warriors that followed her. You know, it's just absolutely amazing to see that in one line, the sheer, she was cut in half, torn between two worlds, if you will.
That, it's just such a emotional movie without being so overboard about it. And we could talk about this till, you know, for
So
3 hours.
part 2 comes out. Yeah, we probably could.
And the other thing is, like, where could you go with this film now, with the second film? Because now and this is something I've, like, not only me, but, like, a lot of other people out there have really kind of discussed and been like, yeah, that could be a cool way to do it. Since, like, if you want to talk about sequel ideas, the best villain, I think, would be for the second film would be Dr. Doom. And I'll tell you why. Doom, like, first off, Doom would be a cool way to introduce the Fantastic Four back. Like, it's an opening ground of Marvel saying, hey, this is going to be Doom now. Because, again, assuming the acquisition goes well. And Doom is such a, like, interesting villain because he's the anti-T'Challa in a way, where he's very isolationist, but he's very intelligent. And his way of going out there and getting out in the world is through power. And enforcing his will on everybody. And there's a lot of good stories with him, like, adapting, like, obviously, Doom War, that was a really interesting comic of him undermining T'Challa and stealing the vibranium.
Yeah.
I think, and again, like, it would be a cool way, because, obviously, Black Panther first showed up in Fantastic Four. And, yeah, this could be Marvel's a way of saying, hey, this is how, you know, the Fantastic Four are coming, but first we're going to show you what we do with Dr. Doom, because we've had 2 strikes as it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely one way I can see that. I like the concept and everything brought to it. My only hope, though, is if and when we do get Dr. Doom, is that, yes, he is a Fantastic Four villain, but he is so much more than a Fantastic Four villain. I'm actually okay if he was built up like a Thanos-style character in terms of the Fantastic... Like, if we get Fantastic Four first, I don't need him in that first film. I don't even need him in the second film. It can lead up. We can have hints to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, he's, like, like, I've always had this idea for Fantastic Four in the MCUs that they've been trapped in the negative... The Fantastic Four have been trapped in the negative zone by Dr. Doom for years. And while time hasn't really affected them, that's where they got... In this universe, you could say the negative zone gave them their power instead of the cosmic rays. They finally get out, maybe through the effects of Infinity War or something like that. They get out, and they were trapped in there since the 60s. And I'm like, well, Doom would be too old. I'm like, that's kind of the idea, is like, Doom's more haggard, kind of more... Because he's been in Liberia all this time, because he's like, without Richards or the Fantastic Four, what's the point? Because he doesn't feel... He wants that challenge.
Right. No, yeah, no, I can see that as well. Again, I just don't want them to mess up Doom. You know, it's so easy, and he's a character that I don't think needs to be killed off.
Yeah.
He's too important to that universe for multiple reasons for him to just be a one-off. So, I mean, if they're going to introduce him in... If they were to... Like, if anyone in Marvel's listening and you want to do that for Part 2, for Black Panther, feel free, go ahead. That's a fantastic idea. The credit goes to this man here. I was like, but, you know, please just don't do him wrong, you know? Yeah. I mean, that is one way to go. I think another obvious way, you know, Submariner, you know, Namor.
I would say, like, if you look away other Black Panther villains, is Moses Magnum.
Yeah,
he's kind of like the Lex Luthor of Black Panther. And, like, he's also, like, a big weapons dealer in vibranium. He can definitely fill in for Claw. And he's, like, an intellectual enemy to T'Challa. And he's a powerhouse, too. And he sells mainly to AIM. And AIM's still around.
Yeah, we could have that. I mean, another option. I mean, this is going to be reaching. I was like, but if, you know, there's been some talks of how great this movie did, that maybe Storm getting her own film to be introduced into the MCU before we even start dealing with the X-Men. I mean, if she was to somehow make an appearance, you know, we could... You know, a friend of ours, Chris, he had talked about that if it does happen and we start kind of going back into her past, you know, Shadow King, I know he's not traditionally a Black Panther villain. But I mean, if you're gonna throw Storm into his universe, I can kind of
But
see.
he's kind of like the big villain in Legion right now.
Well, that is true, but who knows what that's gonna happen after the acquisition. Who knows where that? Even though that show's not bad,
I really love it.
It's pretty good, but I mean, let's also face it, it's not necessarily a traditional take on that character either.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But again, you know, we are getting at least a season 2. I did see the previews to that, so that's going to be cool. But after the acquisition and after, you know, Infinity War, anything can happen. But again, personally, me, you know, and this is also maybe just a random thought in my head real quick, and this is something maybe we can talk about more in another video. But like moving forward into Phase 4, like things that they can do. I know kind of the concept is probably they're just going to do maybe more individual things so they don't have the stress of putting everything together. But again, money talks, you know. So, I mean, obviously doing it this way made them who they are. So maybe straying away is not this or their bet. But I think a good thing they could do instead of going off into the universe is maybe bring it back down to Earth. And maybe if Namor can't be in Black Panther 2, maybe he can be the next big bad to the Marvel, at least Earthbound universe. You know, after seeing this war, you know, and all the damage it does to Earth, you know, Namor could get pissed off. You know, he does control most of the Earth. I mean, his rule poses more than any land dweller. Yeah. So the effects, you know, he can get pissed off, and now he's raising the army of Atlantis to come at the Marvel universe. I mean, I would be down. I mean, granted, eventually we all know he would probably see the error in his ways and become a hero or a good guy, whatever you want to call him. I was like, but I think that would be an interesting story. Oh my God, Atlantis is attacking the world. Yeah. You know?
And you could have Doom like he's pulling the strings on Namor.
Absolutely. He could be egging it on the whole time. And this way he's looking at it as like, I'm getting ready, I'm about to take over. Okay, well, these guys could stop me, and this guy in his kingdom can stop me. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this guy to fight those guys and have them wipe out each other.
And I'll stride right in and be like, oh, the United Nations fail you? Doom will not fail you.
Exactly. Dude, that's fantastic. Okay, Marvel, we expect checks to our doorstep. All right? You know, again, we could go on and on about these films and our crazy ideas, but, you know, we'll continue that on a later date.
Yeah, like maybe when we get to Infinity War, we'll talk about everything that could happen. But
right.
Yeah. But yeah, this movie was, going back to the original point, this movie's fantastic. I don't think there's anything more we could say that's already been said.
Right. You know? So, I guess, in closing on our review, okay, I don't know how you want to classify it. I'll do it a traditional star rating. If I was going to do, you know, out of 5 stars, for me personally, the way it made me feel after the movie, I would probably give it 4.5 stars, because it's not a perfect film. There are a couple of things in it that did kind of bug me. But they were so minor that it didn't affect the overall of the movie. So 4.5 stars on my end. I would definitely say go see it. It's a must. It's also a film that, touching back to some of our previous videos, if you're someone who hasn't, I don't know where you've been for the past 10 years, if you haven't seen any other Marvel movies, you don't necessarily have to see any other ones. And if you feel like you have to, Civil War is probably the only other one you have to go and see to go into this movie and enjoy it completely.
Yeah. So that's all we have to really say about that. So until next time.
Till next time, guys.